everyone, this is Jenny from Spectrum Noir. Thanks for joining me here for this little video on how to care for your Spectrum Noir pens. They're a great little pen and they should last you a long time. However, with a little bit of care, they'll last you even longer. So I'm going to give you a couple tips and I hope it helps. Let's start off with how to open the pen to get started coloring. What we have here is we have an hourglass shape on the lid. Let me move this and I have a white background for you so you can see it easier. There you go. So we have a nice little hourglass lid. This is made so that you can actually stick both thumbs in it and pull it directly straight up. So you saw how easy that came? Right straight up. Another way you can do it is I like to just do it one-handed and I stick it with my finger and my thumb and pull straight up. Another way is you can actually pull it straight this way, but I don't recommend that way. Because what can happen is when you're pulling it off this way, you can accidentally bend the pen here and you can weaken the joint here. Another thing you can accidentally do is hit the nib of the marker, and that could damage the nib over time. You can also flick some ink that might happen to flick onto your artwork, and we wouldn't want that to happen. So take precaution and do it the way that was designed to open, and just use both thumbs, open it right up. Should be nice and easy for you. So that's a great easy way on how to open the pen. Now let's take a look at the nibs. We have our nice small bullet tip where we can get into those little tiny nooks and crannies of our images. This sometimes, if we overuse it or we use it on rough surfaces like this fabric, which I love to color on, over time the roughness of that paper or the fabric will dull my nib and maybe make it a little bit fuzzy where it's not quite as sharp and pointed as it is to start with. So if you do that over time, it's easy to fix. You just need to pull out the nib, get a replacement, and stick it back in. I wouldn't go pulling this one out very often, but if you do need to replace it, go ahead and do that. If you want to refill your pen, that's really easy. I usually do it from the chisel end of my marker. I just pull this out. I make sure that my lid matches my bottle. Same number. We have 168 different colors, and this is my CT4. It has a nice little glass pipette inside that I love. This is great for mixed media too, just giving you a tip there. So I go ahead and I just stick a pipette full and I squeeze and fill up the marker. I don't want to do that because I will overfill my marker. It already has plenty of ink in it, but that's how you would do it. If you happen to overfill your marker, which I have done, to prevent that, what you want to do is just put like one pipette at a time in. If your marker is super dry, it might need 2 pipettes, but 1 pipette should do you just fine. If you overfill your marker, sometimes what will happen is when you put the lid on, you might get a little bit of puddling down in the top of your lid. That's okay if it's just a little bit, but if it's a lot, you don't want it to start drying on your nib. So an easy way to fix that is to take a Q-tip and a little bit of rubbing alcohol and just wipe it out, and it'll come right out. This one's not dirty, so you can see that none of it came out. But that's an easy way to clean that. Another thing that some people mention is some of their pens get a little bit dirty right here. That doesn't really affect the performance of the pen, but if it really does bother you, you can clean it off with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a cotton ball, and it comes right off. So that's nice and easy to know. So let's go ahead and put our lids back on. When you put them back on, make sure and hear the snap. That means that it's on there nice and tight, and it shouldn't dry up on you. So if you're going to store them for a long time, I like to see them stored flat or horizontally. This is going to keep your ink evenly distributed throughout the pen and keep both nibs wet at the same time, so they're ready to use when you pull them out. Some people, if they're going to store them for a long period of time or in a warm area, they might even put them in a baggie, a plastic baggie, or a Tupperware container. That's for just long-term storage. I don't usually do that because I use my pens quite often. So those are just a couple tips. Let's see if I forgot anything. I think that's about it. You do want to make sure and have a craft mat underneath. If you look, I do have a craft mat here underneath for when I'm refilling my pens because you don't want to make a mess. So I hope you enjoyed my video today.